Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Garcia calling from just outside of Toronto, Canada. It's my pleasure and honor today to spend some time with you and sharing some of my wisdom that goes back over 20 years in this great industry. I know we have people from our great NHT Global distributors, and I've got some people here jumping on here from other companies that have jumped on here tonight, and I'd like to welcome all of you for jumping on. As Jamie had shared with you, I have sponsored, well over 300 people here now with NHT Global over the last, 13 years now. It's coming up to actually 13 years in about a week or so. And it's been an incredible journey that I've had here in this great industry of network marketing, the traveling I've done, the people I've met, the people I've helped become $1 million earners. Actually, we've got another couple now that are ready to break the NHT record with regards to getting to the NHT Global Millionaire status. We have a couple in China that got married just over a year ago. Actually, it was June of last year, and they got started about a year and a half ago, and they're tracking now the second highest level in the company and almost have earned almost $1 million in commissions now in the 2 years they've been in business. So incredible things are happening. For those of you jumping on from other companies, just forgive me. I'm just going to share with the next couple of minutes what's been going on with NHT here over the last year. As most of you know, we've had a 40% increase over 2013. The first quarter of 2014, we've had over a 50% increase. Pretty good for a company that's 13 years old. As you know, here in the North American market, we've added two new incredible products. These are not only life-changing products, but products that you can actually start a network marketing company called the Restore product line. And if you want to learn more about that product line, you can go into steamteam.ca under the NHT Up link in steamteam.ca. You'll be able to hear the formulator of that product, Dr. Lyle. A few weeks ago, we had him on to discuss this incredible product line. So make sure you go and do that. And without further ado, also, we've got this incredible Italian incentive program that we launched a couple of months ago. That's going to go on until June. I know many of you are striving and working hard to get there to beautiful Italy. I posted actually a video of our Asian group that was there for their incentive trip end of last year and the time that they had in Italy. So it'll give you the little bit of a taste of what to expect in these incentive trips. And I'm hoping all of you are promoting that through your organization. One of the greatest skill sets that you can develop in your business is promote. Promote the next event, promote the next webinar, the next training, promote these incentive trips. Paint a picture for these people and say, you're going to have leaders from multiple countries there. You're going to be able to learn and have fun and get to taste the lifestyle living in 5-star resorts and 5-star hotels. Incredible way that you can build momentum within your team. Tonight, I want to share with you some wisdom of how I've been able to recruit not only 300 up to 300 people here with NHT Global, but hundreds and hundreds over my career the last 20 years. And this is something that I picked up when I first got started in this industry. And it's all about your energy. Okay, Joe, what does that really mean? Your energy. A lot of people think energy is all about the energy you emit as a person. Yes, that has a little bit to do about it. But what I'm talking about more is the energy of your core. And I'll take you back in 1993 when I got started. And most of you know my story. And I'm sitting in the back of the room. I was invited to a presentation. I'm looking at speaker after speaker after speaker. I'm hearing them. And within a couple of minutes of that presentation, it was a Super Saturday training, I knew that this was going to be the vehicle of my dreams. And one of the things that I recognize today, all these years later, and the 43, now almost $44 million earners on our team here the last 13 years, one of the things I recognized is I was aligned right from the beginning. And I'll tell you what that means. Is I was so focused on what my goal was that it was right down to the detail of what I wanted in life. And I had written it down. And most of you who, and I'm not going to spend the time here in this training, but if you go to steamteam.ca into the first 90 days, you'll be able to download and watch a webinar I did on my 5-step system and getting what you want. And hope you watch that, because it's full of incredible nuggets that will allow you to understand what I'm talking about in terms of alignment. So I'm really focused. You can just close your eyes right now and think about this. I was really focused on what I wanted. So that's the first thing I did. The second thing I did is I made a true 150% commitment to my goal and my dream. You know what that means, guys? It means that I went home, looked myself in the mirror, said, Joe, this is it. This is the vehicle to my dreams, to your dreams. You're never going to think about quitting. You know, I've always had that commitment level in everything that I did. I didn't go in at 50%. I didn't go try. You see a lot of people come into the business, say, I'm going to try to do this. All try means is that you're not going to do it now. It's never going to happen. You believe that any of the Olympic athletes that won a gold medal, even a bronze or silver in the past Olympics, do you think that they say, I'm going to try to become an athlete? I'm going to try to become a gold medal winner? Of course they didn't. It was a full 150% commitment. That's what I did. So what happened? I was aligned with my dream. Again, go back to first 90 days on Joe Garcia system. That dream was in front of me all day long. I didn't allow distractions to get into my mindset. And the second thing is I was committed. So what happened? And I was young, naive, didn't realize what I was doing when I got started. But what happened when I went out and started talking about the business? When I went out and prospect, people subconsciously felt a connection to me. They felt that I was going places because this was the energy that I was emitting. The commitment and the alignment to my dream overcame all the insecurities I had, all the negative programming I had, all the doubt that I had, because this is it. You're going to get it done no matter what. People saw me back then. On a scale, many of you have heard this, on the scale of 1 to 10, if you rate skill sets, I was a -10. If someone would have looked at me and said, Joe, is Joe going to really be that leader, that multi-million-dollar earner? But guys, because I became so committed, because I was aligned with my dream, those skill sets came. I started attracting people that I shouldn't have based on my skill set. But I started attracting those people because I was so focused on my dream. Okay, let me share with you how I did that. Is when I would walk in, because I had these insecurities. All of us have these insecurities, these doubts. When a lot of people have the fear of the phone. They pick up the phone. What I'm going to say, I'm going to screw up. They have these thoughts on what they don't want. But what I did is I intended for great things to happen. So in the morning, when I wake up in the morning, I say, I'm going to have a great day today. Not only did I do that, as I stated in affirmation, I will win. Why? I'll tell you why. Because faith, courage, and enthusiasm. Today I'll meet the right people, the right time, in the right place for the benefit of it all. I seek opportunity every challenge. I'm terrific at remembering names. When I fail, I look at what I did right, not what I did wrong. I'm terrific at remembering names. I'm a winner. I'm a believer. So I stated that every single day. I can write it off by verbatim now without even looking at it. It was up on my shower, and I did that every day. I intended for great things to happen. I got on the phone. I would say, this person will listen to me. It's going to be an incredible call. I'm sending lots of love and energy to this person. I can change your life. So I constantly was doing that. I went out, and when I was meeting with people, I would send this vibration out because my thoughts We're in love. We're in prosperity. We're on an abundance. We're on giving value. I didn't know that at that time in terms of the awareness, but I know now what it does to people. There is a scale. I don't have it with me here, but if you can just stand right now and think about the people you met today in your daily errands. Just think about the people that made an impression on you. They could have smiled, they could have opened the door, and the people that stood out. I can get a lot of people say that's charisma. I can guarantee you those people at that moment were vibrating at an energy level where they were focused on all the powerful thoughts: love, prosperity, abundance, harmony, not things like jealousy and fear and anger. And and when people focus on those things, it you'll never attract anything into your life but negativity. You're vibrating at such a lower level, people feel that. No one will get into business with you feeling that way. So my job tonight is not to give you the skill sets of how to talk to people. You can get all in steamteam.ca. But I'm here tonight giving you the difference maker. The difference maker is buying into this philosophy. I'm going to share with you a experiment that you can get online. All you have to do is just Google Dr. Emoto's work on water. Okay, Dr. Emoto took glass of water, plain glass of water. When you look under a powerful microscope, this glass of water, plain tap water, there's no shape to it. We all know that with our incredible clustered water product. So no shape, it's full of chemicals and everything else. So what he did is he decided to write down positive affirmations, things to do with love, things to do with positiveness, things to be grateful for, and he wrapped it around the glass. He came back a little while later, and to his astonishment, the water now was full of beautiful crystals. He didn't add anything to the water. It was just his messages. So can you imagine, okay, when you look at this, and there's lots of research on this part of his work. You go in there and read it, and I was astonished by what the water changed. And can you imagine what water, our body's made up of 70% of water. We're full of these billions and billions of trillions of cells. Can you imagine now, just based on this work he's done, how if we focus our energies on what I'm sharing with you, the love, prosperity, abundance, being grateful, all these high, giving value, taking the ego away, and you focus on that with your prospects. Can you imagine what it's doing to your DNA? But also what's scary, what is really scary is when you focus on the negativity, what it's doing to your DNA. That is scary. That is even more dangerous than pollution, than the free radicals getting into your system. This will change your body's DNA. Just based on Dr. Emoto's work. And there's thousands of studies like this when it comes to energy. So now today, I did this naturally, but now today I'm even reminding myself all the time. When I'm taking our nutritionals, I'm taking a tablet, I'm saying, God, can you please bless this tablet for its intended purpose that is going to do great things for my body, right? I'm meeting with people. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, this is going to be an incredible meeting. The right people will listen to me. And I'm going to attract incredible leaders. Easy to do and easy not to do. So, first step is my philosophy is raise your consciousness relating to energy. I'm giving you the awareness, and I just gave you one simple little study and research that Dr. Emoto did on water. But you have experienced this all your life. You walk into a room, you see a speaker, and they're full of energy and positiveness, right? Or you go into someone's room and all you feel is negativity. You don't know the people, but all you feel is negativity. We've experienced this all our lives. We've experienced this all our lives. So my job, again, is to share with all of you, get to the awareness, especially in our business, to make sure your thoughts are really focused on what you want. That immediately will raise your consciousness. If you spend more time focusing on what you want rather than you don't want, remove the distractions, you will succeed. You will reach your goals. The challenge is, how do we do that? It's very difficult because we are programmed with junk. And I'll go into that next. So I'm going again. I'm on the phone today. Before 2 minutes before the phone, I'm blessing this call. I'm sharing great intentions with this call. I'm pre-paving my hour. I'm pre-paving my half hour. And I'm sitting down in front of them. I'm doing the same thing. And people say, Joe, immediately they feel a connection to me. And I just laugh because silently, I laugh inside. I'm silent because I know what I'm doing. I'm sending messages through the subconscious mind. Have you ever watched a hypnotist where they can go and tap into their subconscious mind? Very powerful stuff. You do that. I'm not saying we're hypnotizing people, but people are picking up our vibrational energy. And then you ever watch a person that's depressed? Their head is down, they're not smiling. That's it's that's when I started to get it 20 years ago and recruiting with ease. One of the challenges that people have today is we have got so many people out there. The world's our oyster, and they focus on the wrong thing. They focus is, who am I going to talk to? Right now, you're already starting with a negative. You're planting negativity into your mind or a roadblock, right? It goes back, and I'm going to share with you. I was sitting down with someone I really respect. Can be a little bit of a mentor of me because she's come up with some great teaching moments for me. And she had shared with me that she was going through these challenges and her mother was praying for her. And she asked her, Mom, how are you praying for me? She says, oh God, please help my daughter. She's struggling. She's has this, she has that, and she can't get to the next step. Please help my daughter. See, and then she said that, Mom, do not pray that way because you're coming from a place of negativity. What I want you to do, if you want to pray for me, is say, God, give her the strength to overcome what she's going through. God, help her see the light. Give her that strength to make sure that this happens. Not to beg and plead, and because that comes from the of lack and negativity. We do not respond. Universe does not respond to that. Of course, because God's made everything. It does not respond to that. Second thing, three things that you need to do to recruit where people are coming to you on a daily basis, where you're on purpose. So the first thing you need to do, besides what I just shared with you, is you need to release the baggage. Unfortunately, majority of us, and that's a huge majority, maybe 95% and more, are spending our days with negative emotions. Fear, jealousy, anger. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. This is too hard. Money's too hard to make. Nobody in my family is successful. How can I be successful? I come from bad DNA. I've heard that before. So these negative emotions, where do they come from? They come from programming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here in front of a computer, and this computer, actually just bought one a couple of days ago, and this great Mac, was programmed to do certain functions. I cannot change that program because it's already built into the computer. Great thing about human beings is all we're the same way, but the thing is we can change the programming by awareness. So you have grown up over the years and surrounded by family members, by your inner circle, by your 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 friends, by society where you grew up, and all these programming things that I've just shared with you, and there's so thousands of more, we're carrying still with us. You see it on people all the time. I see it with my family. You know, things like my sister in a conversation said a couple of bad things happening, and she says, doesn't things happen in threes? Again, that's bad things happen in threes. That is negative programming. So we go through life programmed in a certain way, and we're not even aware of it. We don't understand why we're making these decisions, or things constantly fall apart. And I kind of share with you a little story by a top producer in this industry who came to me, and he had some issues where the last several companies that he's been with, he's made a lot of money, but he says, Joe, there's been a pattern where I get to that first year, I made a lot of money, get into that second year, the same thing happens, and then it always falls apart. At times I would blame the company did this, company did that, but it's happened over and over and over again. And I shared with him, if you connect the pieces of the puzzle, it's the decisions that you're making. You're manifesting this constantly. And I bet you're carrying a lot of baggage. No, see what happens now, our ego starts to talk. And he says, no, Joe, that's not possible. I put a lot of personal development in me. I've succeeded. I go, look at the pattern. Put the pieces of the puzzle together. And so he thought about it after a couple of days. And I asked him, what was the one thing as a child that you feared, that you still have with you, that held you back, how you were brought up? Maybe there was a traumatic experience. So a couple of days later, he called me up. He said, Joe, I think you've nailed it on the head. I think I understand why these things are happening to me. And he basically said that he grew up feeling that he was a second-class citizen because of his parents, of their religious background, and his dad always trying to make people happier because he didn't feel as powerful. He felt like a second-class citizen. So these feelings that he had, again, the powers in the feeling, these feelings that he had all these years, it's been stuck in his subconscious. It's been programmed. And that still has that feeling of not being good enough, having the second-class syndrome. So you can imagine some of the decisions he made was based on a lot of that baggage of where. So I can probably do a whole call on this for a couple of hours, but it's real important as leaders. When you get to a leadership level, and I know a lot of the people on here tonight are leaders, you need to start identifying, you might be taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Your business now is growing as fast as you're not recruiting as many people. You may want to start identifying the patterns. And maybe it's 1 or 2 things but you've consistently had all these years that's holding you back, that's making you make decisions, right? Over and over again. I'll give you another example. There was a person I know that she was sharing with me when I was talking to her, and I asked her why she'd been in so many network marketing companies the last 5 years. So she went on to share with me that her first network marketing company, she traveled right around the East Coast with her car. She was building a business. She was so focused, and it all fell apart. And it put a bad taste in her mouth, and that she started understanding never put one egg in one basket, all the eggs in one basket, that she needed to have a different mentality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And see, look at the pattern. She built something that fell apart. It was probably some of the baggage she was carrying, the programming. She had this traumatic experience. She felt she worked so hard for a few years and then all fell apart. What was that all for? So she took that she was never going to put her eggs in all one basket. Now what's happened is she's been in so many companies. She calls them programs. a lot of these iffy type of programs. And the last two or three or four of them, she's been sued. She's attracted wrong people that have created pain in her life. All these things, step by step by step. And I can guarantee you, if I go back into her history, I can guarantee you nail why she's like this. But that traumatic experience that she had, that's her words, went into changed her philosophy. Second step is now you need to set a goal. Again, I was fully aligned. You cannot be in harmony with yourself and have this vibrational level if you're not aligned with exactly what you want. So you'll have that yo-yo syndrome. No matter how hard time you focus, you will have that yo-yo syndrome. You don't have that commitment. You don't have that alignment with your goal, your main goal. You will have that yo-yo syndrome. I see this all the time with people. Sometimes it takes them 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to that conscious level to understand, now I get it. And then you start taking action. Nothing happens, guys, without taking action. You need to share the universe that you're committed and you're working the business. So what I did when I started every single day, and many of you have heard this, is I had a personal development plan. I worked on myself an hour a day. Everything I'm sharing with you now, I did hour a day. Second thing is I had an action plan with my business. I knew how many people I wanted to talk to. I was always doing something, one thing a day that was going to move me to the next level. Number 3, never let my baggage get in control of me. And I just stopped there because I remember, guys, and this is a great example. When I got started in the industry and I was starting to make my name for myself, and my mentors, Dan Cattle, would say, Joe, the person with the pen would make the most amount of money. And I knew he was right, but I was fearful to get up on stage. I was horrified. It caused me a lot of anxious moments. And I did everything possible not to do it. And I can remember why that was, because I was in high school. In a grade 5 play, I was in master of ceremonies. And I remember that day I was so frightened from those 2 hours. I would talk so fast. It was like a blip, a blip. And then in high school, I had to talk in front of doing these presentations. I remember doing one presentation where I just froze, and my friend did it all, and he was making jokes, which made it worse for me, right? So that was buried into my subconscious mind, those instances. But when I got into network marketing, and I go, why am I so scared to be up in front of the stage? And then I remembered that negative day, those instances. I would program myself. The fear got over me. So what I did is I just took action. I just had to do it over and over and over again. And then the third thing is maintaining focus. Again, if you're aligned with what you want, you make that commitment to your family and yourself, you will maintain focus. The challenge is we allow the distractions, the family members, and everything. I was talking to a distributor the other day. Again, he's a new distributor. I think he's been in the business 7 months, 8 months. Has a lot to learn. He's growing. And I hadn't heard from him for 3 weeks. You know what he told me? Is that a friend of his, their baby, their son, I don't know if it was a baby or their son, had some health challenges. And he was giving support to his friend. Oh, I said, fantastic. That's incredible. But can you imagine that, guys? It's great to have empathy for our neighbor and our family, but that just told me that he was not aligned with what he wanted. He never made a commitment. Never made a commitment. He said he did, but he never did. Because you wouldn't allow distractions to overcome your dream. There are things that happen in our life that are lessons. I've gone through them, and they cause a lot of angst in your life, and they're testing you. and testing you, and they're breaking you down. But again, this is the time, this is where the personal development come in, where you need to start to maintain focus, not doing something every single day for your business. And that's probably one of the main reasons why I've succeeded, continue to will succeed in this industry, uh, leading this business to $1 billion annually every year and more, creating a legacy because of my maintaining focus. But today, it's harder to do than ever because we got Facebook, social media, people sharing their feelings of how bad their lives are, and the trauma news 24/7. It's thousands of television stations, again, selling you, programming you, and creating fear and jealousy and anger. So it's harder to do. So even in the age of technology, now you got to guard your thoughts. And the great Jesus, one of the descending masters, had shared with us in the Bible in Matthew, and he talked about the parable of the farmer. And most of us all know this, where this farmer in the weeds, and you got to take care of it, and the farmer didn't take care of the weeds, take care of the garden every day, the weeds would take control. He was talking about the mind. Now we got to guard and focus on that on a daily basis. So I hope today you got a little glimpse of my philosophy of, great books like The Power of Intention, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Esther Hicks has The Science of Deliberate Creation, where she talks about intending, pre-paving your life. I'm doing that in little instances. I get on a plane, I'll say, thank you, God, for the safe flight. I get in a car for a long drive. Thank you, God, for the safe drive. I'm always intending, be cognizant of my vibrational level. So I'm vibrating constantly at a higher level where I am manifesting and I'm having fun and I'm having a great time in my life. So I hope today you review this training I'm sharing with you here today and start implementing that philosophy. When you're getting on the phone, you're raising your vibrational level, you're inviting people. People do it naturally. They have a higher vibrational speech, but start within. And that'll create charisma in your life. That'll create people saying, wow, I got to know something more about this guy. I don't know about this business, but there's something about this person. And watch what happens to your life. The other thing I want to just share with you, and I'll end the call there, is when you implement this kind of philosophy, you got to look at and write them down every day so you can remember little miracles that happen in your life and start connecting the dots. We do that negatively constantly, right? We do that negatively constantly. But on positive, it takes a little bit of effort and strength where you go back and you start thinking, wow, I intended this to happen. And look what happened. I'm starting to connect the dots. It's a great book I'm reading right now by Wayne Dyer. I Can See Clearly Now. I just finished his other book, Wishes Fulfilled, which I definitely recommend. I Can See Clearly Now is more of his history and him connecting the dots and of his philosophy and what he did and what happened next. Powerful stuff. And that didn't come from memory. That obviously came from, him writing in his journals and writing into his manifest that he does. So take note of these little miracles, these little coincidences that happen in your life that help you with this philosophy, help you believe more. Margaret and I, and we're talking to our daughter, who just turned 20 years old. Can you imagine that? Thank God I had her when I was 15. And she couldn't remember a kindergarten teacher. And they were thinking, what was her name? What was her name? What was her name? We went out a couple of hours later, and this is a woman we haven't seen in 15 years. And we're coming back. We went to get some groceries, getting out of the car, packing the groceries into the car. And this woman comes up to her, I know who you are. And I go, okay. Yes, I'm a movie star, right? I know you are. And then we put two together with Vanessa's kindergarten teacher. So putting down these little coincidences, that happen in your life when you put a lot of energy, and that conversation was a lot of energy. These are not coincidences. These are not coincidences. It's happened to me over and over and over again in my life where I would set a goal, things weren't working out, and out of the blue, 15 levels down, some guy just takes off or some woman, and I get in contact with, wow, what's going on? How can I help you? And they become the leader and the growth of that business. It's, and I think back and I go, what did I do to prepave this? And I connect the dots. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got a little bit of wisdom here tonight. I got into a lot of great things. My wish for you tonight is that you listen to this over again, get your team to listen over this again, and start implementing these things. And you will be recruiting more people, higher quality people. Your business will start to grow. You'll start things happening in your life that can be related to your positive intentions. God bless everyone. Have a great evening. I appreciate your energy that you're giving out to me today. Take care and God bless and have a great night. Bye-bye.